I believe everyone has a story to tell. And I believe everyone deserves a little pampering. Welcome to Mannies with Grannies. I'm your host, Tiffany Marino. Join me while I sit down with a woman over 70 and get to know her while giving her a manicure. Welcome to this episode of Mannies with Grannies. Today, I have a special treat. I'm with Kathy Ryder. Kathy has known me my entire life. I grew up with Kathy as part of my extended family. Her and my Aunt Mimi were childhood best friends, and it ended up that her daughter actually married one of my cousins. So Kathy has been a great part of my life, and I'm so excited to be here with her today to get to know her in a new and different way. Kathy, thanks so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for coming.
You know, I'm not sure where we should start, but do you want to start talking about your work with the Ladies Auxiliary? Because I know you were pretty involved with the firehouse for a while, right?
Yeah, I did that for 12 years. Yep. Was a volunteer doing all kinds of things with them, making money for the firemen.
And that was for the Souderton Firehouse?
Souderton Fire Company, yes.
Because your husband was part of the fire company?
Yes, he was a fireman. He's a life member now. He was there for 40 years.
Wow. Yeah. And that's all volunteer work?
All volunteer.
What was it like being the wife of a fireman?
It was different when you never knew when they were going out, and you always prayed nothing would happen to them when they were out there. He became a fire police, and that was worse because of the crazy drivers.
Oh, really?
He said that was worse than fighting fires, yeah.
Oh, wow. What kind of work did you do with the Ladies Auxiliary?
Fundraisers, helping in the kitchen, helping with bingo, whatever they needed help with.
Were you able to see the difference that your group made?
Yes. We helped make money for them so they could buy their needed equipment and everything, because that's not cheap.
I remember going to your house growing up, and you'd always have the scanner playing.
Yep, and we still do.
Do you enjoy listening to it?
Yes, I do. Except yesterday when that accident was on the turnpike and I knew Melanie and Bob were in Plymouth meeting, I was nervous.
How many daughters do you have?
I have 2 daughters, and we have 3 granddaughters and 1 grandson. And then we have 1 great-granddaughter and 1 great-grandson. It's fun, especially when they're all here. Noisy.
Do you remember finding out you were pregnant for the first time?
Yep, we were surprised. It was exciting, even though I was very sick the whole time. Both times I had 2 daughters, and both times the whole 9 months I was very sick. So 2 was enough.
Do you remember telling your mom you were pregnant?
Yeah, she wasn't happy. But that's my mom, because it happened sooner than we thought. We were married only like 2.5 months.
I remember growing up at Mimi and Jim's pool and hanging out and swimming, and your mom would be there, and we'd all be chit-chatting and hanging out together, and it was so fun. And your mom was quite a strong personality.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Always was.
What was it like having her as a mother?
It was tough. It was tough. I loved her dearly, but she made it hard growing up, and even after I was married, she wanted everything her way. She was one of those that it was her way or no way.
Why do you think that was?
I have no idea. I guess it was just her personality, you know.
Do you know anything about her parents?
My grandmother lived with us. She was the best. When she died, it was like I lost my mom. She was always with us. We lived with her when my dad was in the military. And then when my grandfather died, she moved to Pennsylvania and she lived with us. So, and she would always be doing stuff for us. And she took over the house, though, from my mom. My mom worked, and my mom left her treat it like it was her house. She did everything, cooking, everything. And my sister and I never had to, while my grandmother was alive, had to help because she didn't want anybody in her kitchen.
Did she have a specialty that she would make?
She made a Portuguese food, a lot of other things. She was a good cook.
Do you just have one sister?
One sister, Betty. They live in Ohio. She's my younger sister. I told her I was going to say she was my older, but she's my younger sister.
What was your dad like?
My dad was very laid back. He could get mad easily, but whatever my mom said, he went and did. He taught me how to drive. He co-signed for my first car. He was great.
I understand that that's not your biological dad?
No, I never met my biological dad until I was 19. And All he did was say hello to me and sorry my grandmother died. It was at my grandmother's funeral. That was the only time. When my parents got divorced, he signed right off of me. So to me, my stepdad was my dad. He did adopt me when they got married, and he was always my dad.
When did you find out that he actually adopted you?
They tried to keep it a secret, but a girl that went to school with me told me when I was in 3rd grade, and I was afraid to say anything. And my mom finally said something when I was like in 5th grade. And I said, yeah, I already know. Back then, they didn't make it open, that was like hush, hush.
So you just kept it to yourself for those couple of
years. Yeah, I didn't know what to do. I was afraid to say anything.
How did you and Don meet?
We met through mutual friends. He went to school with one, and I went to school with the wife. And we met on a blind date on New Year's Eve. I believe it was 1970. Yep.
Did you kiss at midnight?
Yep. Yeah, we had a good time. It was at an apartment. There was 4 couples, and it snowed, and we got snowed in. My mother, being as strict as she was okay with it because she knew the couple that introduced us and knew nothing would go on. It was fun. We had a good time.
How long did you date before you were engaged?
About a year. Was a year. Mm-hmm.
How did Don propose?
Oh, this is funny. We were going into my parents' driveway, which you had to go through an alley, and he stopped in the alley and asked me to marry him. Nothing fancy.
Had he talked to your parents?
Yes, he had talked to them, and they said fine. My mom loved him. She thought the world of him. And my dad liked him, but knowing my mom liked him, that was the best.
Mom gave the seal of approval.
Approval, right.
What was your wedding day like?
It was really nice. It poured. It was in the fall. Matter of fact, we'll be married 51 years, October 28th.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. It poured until about 15 minutes before we left for the church. We couldn't do any outside pictures or anything like that, but it was a beautiful day.
Who did you have in your wedding?
Your Aunt Mimi, my sister, cousins, and my uncle, and some neighbors. It wasn't real big. And then I had 2 kids that I used to babysit were Flower Girl and Ring Bear.
Did you go on a honeymoon?
Just overnight up to the Poconos. That was the extent of it. But since then, on our 25th, we went to Disney World. We've done some other things.
Tell me a story about you and your best friend, Mary.
Well, one time we were out. She didn't drive right away. I had a 53 Chevy Bel Air that my dad picked up. We were going to the Montgomeryville Mart, and we stopped on a hill, and I couldn't get it started. And these guys stopped and told us to get in the field because they had to do something to the clutch, and it might jump. So we did, never thinking that they could have stole the car. But we were pretty tame. As Mary and I always said, we were sort of like nerds. We didn't get in any kind of trouble or anything. We used to go to roller derby all the time down in Philly with Mary's Uncle Harry and his family. That was fun. We used to have a good time. He was so funny. And her cousin Harriet would go all the time. She was the driver to take us. And we had made so many plans that we were going to do when I retired, but then she got sick. It's not a day goes by that I don't miss her.
I know that she really valued your friendship, and you were a really good friend to her as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there wasn't anything we didn't tell each other. We were like close sisters, basically. We knew so much about each other.
It's funny because I don't know if the two of you actually look alike, but when I look at you, I see so much of her.
People say that knew her and I, they always said, you really resemble each other.
And I don't know that I ever thought that when she was alive or ever noticed, but...
Right. But now, my hair's short. And
there's just something, I don't know, that I can see her when I look into your eyes.
And when we first met in 3rd grade, we weren't real close because she was a tomboy to me. And I always wore dresses. And, well, we had to. But she was always out playing ball with the boys and all that. And then in 7th grade, walking home from school, we just hit it off. And we're close friends ever since. It wasn't anything one of us wouldn't have done for the other.
What did having a close friend like that mean to you?
Oh, it meant a lot. It really did. It was so nice to be able to call somebody up or go to her house and talk to her and know that she wasn't going to judge you or anything and spread it all around or whatever. It was great. Yeah, we would always be there for each other.
Did you always live in this area?
lived in North Wales, grew up for my first 8 years in Rhode Island because my mom was from Rhode Island. And then when my dad got out of the Navy, he was from here and jobs were scarce up there, and been here since I was 8 years old. And now we live in Souderton. Been here since 1979.
You worked at the bank for a long time.
I worked at Univest for 30 years. Never was a teller. I worked in the offices. Did a lot of different things, doing loans, taking care of the accounts for the people that made over 6 figures. I also did collections at one point. That was interesting.
Was that difficult?
It is difficult because some people you just feel bad for because they fell into hard times. I retired in 2016, and I'm glad to be home.
How did you make the decision to retire?
I had to have my aortic valve replaced, and I thought, I'm going to be 65, and I'm going to retire. It came out great, and I'm going to go live.
How's retirement been?
It's been great. I love it. I love being home. I love not having to go out in bad weather. I met a lot of nice people. We're in a 55 and over. I belong to the lunch bunch and do all kinds of things with them. And we go to the movies. In Souderton, they redid the movie theater, and they have what's called Tightwad Tuesday. It's $5, and we go there and just do all kinds of things. Bingo.
Thinking back to when you were younger, is there anything you wish you would have done differently?
I wish when I had the opportunity to go to college, to be a nurse, I would have. My family did not believe in girls going to college. They just thought that was a waste. You just get married. And I always wanted to be a nurse, and then I never went back. I just, had kids and went to work at the bank.
What was your favorite part of motherhood?
Oh, just being with the kids, holding them, doing things with them. I love doing things with them, cooking with them. We used to do a lot of making cookies and just having them around. Like when they were home from school in the summer, I hated when school came back because then they were gone all day again.
Kathy, what is your age?
I am 71. I'll be 72 the end of November.
How does it feel to be 71?
Other than the aches and pains, no different until I realize my oldest daughter's 50. Then I feel old. And then my youngest will be 47 in December. As long as I feel good, it doesn't bother me.
Tell me something about getting older.
Oh, you have a lot of aches and pains. It's definitely different. You're thankful for every day that you have, that's for sure. I don't cook like I used to. Try to enjoy life every day because you start realizing you don't know. The more your friends are dying and living in a 55 and over, you see that a lot. But I wouldn't change that. We're here 15 years and we love it.
If you could go back and talk to yourself when you were 21, what would you say to your 21-year-old self?
Do whatever you want to do within reason. Make sure if you have some kind of dream to do something, do it because you just don't know. But I really can't say I would change anything other than I would have became a nurse.
Is there anything else you wish maybe you would have said yes to?
Not off the top of my head. I can't think of anything. I wish I would have been stronger to tell my mom how I felt about things that she was so controlling over.
Do you think that the type of mother you had affected the type of mother you were?
Right. I tried not to be as strict, but we were strict because back then parents really were. But I tried to understand. And if I thought after I reprimanded or something, I would apologize, which I never got that, Tried to realize when they were teens that they were going to try things, and that's how it was.
Kids always make mistakes.
Right.
How is it as a parent to have to sit back and watch your kid make choices that maybe you wouldn't make for them?
Right. It's hard. It is because you don't want to see them hurt. Just sat back and hope that everything would work out. Because what else are you going to do? They have to make choices, and that's how it is.
And everything
worked out. Yeah. Maybe not exactly how you thought it would, but eventually it does.
Do you feel like so far your life has worked out how you thought it would?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
What year did you say you graduated high school?
1969, before you could wear slacks to school.
Thinking back to graduation, how did you feel at that time in your life?
Oh, excited and like you had the whole world, It was great.
What would you say to somebody who was graduating now?
Go to college and enjoy yourself, but think before you do things.
Did you and Don do much traveling?
No, neither one of us are travelers. I've never flown. Our big vacation every year with the girls was they loved to go to Ocean City, Maryland. So we went there for years and years. And every so often we go down there. We've been to Disney twice. We go out to Ohio to see my sister. But that's about the extent of our travel.
What do the two of you like to do together?
Out to dinner, just sit and talk to each other. We used to be able to go walk and stuff, but it's hard now. His knees are bad. But he likes to go fishing and I like to read. So a lot of times I'll take a book and go sit while he fishes.
What is it like watching your spouse age?
It's weird. Every so often, you look and you think, wow, he's much older now. And other times you don't see a difference, it's weird, but he can't do as much as he used to. And it's different. It's sometimes upsetting, sometimes not. And we love to watch cowboys together, Westerns. We do that a lot, and game shows.
What are you looking forward to?
Just having good health for, another 10 or 12 years. I look forward to seeing the kids and the great-grandkids and the grandkids. It's fun watching them grow up, watching the kids and stuff.
Do you remember living through any big historical moments?
We had the centennial in North Wales and then the bicentennial when Melanie was born in 1976, but not really other than the epidemic. Wow. The pandemic, I should say.
Most recently.
Most recent.
We don't need to talk about
no,
that.
That was
That's
horrible.
too recent.
But nothing. No, life was pretty calm when we were growing up. There was the Vietnam War, and a lot of people were against that. Oh, and I did live through John F. Kennedy being assassinated. I remember it. I was in 7th grade in Miss Schellingberger's science class. I will never forget that.
Do you remember how it felt?
Oh, it was sad. It was so sad. He was so young and his family and stuff. It's something you never thought of it happening, And also through the Twin Towers being attacked and all that. I was working then and I was at my desk and Dina and Melanie went and picked up their little ones. There were things that you just never thought would happen in America.
What's something not many people know about you?
Gee, I don't know. I guess maybe that I was born in Rhode Island, lived there till I was 8.
Do you remember how you felt when you moved?
I really don't. I just remember we moved here and started a new school. That was different. But I don't remember much of my other schooling, I guess because I was so young.
And then that year was the year that you met Mary?
Yes. But we really didn't, like I said, become friends until 7th grade. We talked to each other and everything. But she was mostly out playing with the boys. All kinds of sports. And I was not a sports person at the time.
Was there something that happened that solidified your friendship?
We had a long walk coming home from junior high and we just started walking together and talking. And then that was it. We became friends and used to go to each other's house and used to go to a lot of her uncle's houses and stuff.
What do you miss from your younger years?
I think people being more together, being more social, not having to worry about everything you say that you would offend somebody. And I remember riding bike a lot. I used to love to ride bike everywhere I went.
Well, we are at the end of our manicure. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, I can't think of anything. It's just so great seeing you again.
I know.
And
it's so good to see you. This is really nice. I'm so glad we got to do this.
I do too. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, I know my nails are such a mess.
They look nice.
Thank you. Yeah, they do.
Kathy, thank you so much for having me here today. I really loved our conversation.
Thank you for coming. I enjoyed it so much.
Thank you for listening to Manny's with Grannies. I hope you enjoyed learning about someone else and maybe even learned a little about yourself.